Next track final is the men's 10,000 meters race walk. Japanese targeting gold. Here come the 34 who will take on this race walk. 25 laps of the Tampere Stadium. They feature the world leader, Sho Sakazaki of Japan. Huge group of national champions, many in the world's top 10. Here's the full list in the men's 10,000 meter race walk final. Nakayama of Japan, second in the world this year. Kaliada, the dangerous Belarusian, at the bottom of the list. .34 in all will be on the start line. We saw the pit lane totally unused in the women's race. Three reds and you go in there, remember? No athlete in the women's race got beyond 2 reds. The 5 judges watching on though. David Hurtado of Ecuador, he was disqualified in the final in Bydgoszcz 2 years ago. The 19-year-old is the South American junior champion. He finished 5th at the World Race Walking Team Championships in this race in Taisang. Sho Sakazaki of Japan, he's world leader this year. The Frenchman, David Coustard, national champion, 7th in Taisang this year, on the road. Declan Tingay, started walking at 9 months old, still hasn't stopped. That's his reason for pursuing a career in race walking. Tatsuko Nakayama is 2nd in the world in 2018. Zhang Yao of China was the winner at the World Race Walking Team Championships in Taisang in a personal best. And was the world leader on the road this year. And I mentioned him earlier, Kaliada, the Belarusian, 8th in Taisang. He's won in Minsk and Gomel already in 2018.
On your marks!
Off they go then. 25 laps to tackle. 17 in each group on either side of the track at the moment. They will come together down that back straight as the cones merge them together. There are 5 judges watching on very carefully, and they are led by Rolf Muller, the chief judge, who carries the ultimate power to disqualify an athlete in the climax of a race. Question for this one is going to be, Devil, whether we see the pit lane employed. Will we see more red cards? And the women I thought were excellent this morning. They're obviously technically superb, as they didn't attract too much attention from the judges at all.
Now, the women showed a really high level of technical discipline and maturity in their race walking this morning. We didn't see any athlete in the pit lane, and as we were saying, you need 3 red cards to end up in the pit lane. It will start to come into view now as they come around the straight. It's just to the left of the screen, but there we go with the yellow cones. The judges there had a very quiet morning with the ladies, as they were so good on their technique, which is fantastic to see, because all these athletes are young, they're teenage athletes, they're finding their feet in this sport, and to have a whole field of ladies with very little issues was just absolutely fantastic to see. The judges did a great job and the athletes were superb. Just to explain what exactly...
Yeah, we'll come back to the early stages of that race in a moment. Let's just briefly break off and introduce the discus second group.
So this is the second group. Qualification now in line. The yellow one is 60 metres. Best 12 performances at least across the 2 groups.
Group B features the reigning world champion at under 20 level.
Start this on screen. The world leader is the gentleman
Rutsky of Belarus.
This year he's also the defending champion.
Fourth in the world this year. Here's the man they might have to beat, Mohammed Ibrahim Moaz of Qatar, the winner in Bydgoszcz, the defending champion, 66.47. He's on top of the world this year as well.
The Qatari athlete is a superstar in Qatar, training out of Aspire Academy. And now you see the race walkers coming around again and just really getting into the flow of this race. There's 2 simple rules all these judges are looking at. The athletes must maintain, and there you see one of the judges just writing her notes. She'll be keeping a really close eye on all of these athletes. 2 more judges, and I believe that's Rolf Muller, who's just gone out of screen, who is the chief judge here. So these athletes must maintain contact with the ground at all times, and that's according to the judge's human eye. So it's what the judge can see, that they're maintaining contact with the ground at all times. Just imagine how hard that is. If you've ever tried to walk fast, I can tell you it is incredibly difficult. The second technical aspect that they have to do is their knee must be straight from the moment of first contact with the ground until it passes under the body. So that's how you see that movement through their stride. And the judges, we see another one there on the left, are looking for that. They're looking for those 2. You see the judges at the board. So that board that we just saw is where it shows the red flags. And as we said, if you get 3 red flags, you're into the pit. So all these athletes would be acutely aware of their technique the whole time. And we see that a judge there is giving a yellow paddle. So a yellow paddle is a warning from the judge. So she spotted the walker, hasn't been happy with an element of technique, and it's almost a careful kind of paddle. That's how I see the yellow paddle. It's always careful now, rein in your technique a little bit, check yourself somewhat. But yellow paddles essentially are just a warning for these athletes. They don't hold the same weight as a red. So you can get 2 yellow paddles from a judge. Remember, there's 5 judges around this track. Just the sponges are coming out. It is extremely warm down on this track this morning. These athletes are competing under searing heat. tough conditions, but I would say this is the most brutally tough event in the track and field program.
They went through the first 1,000 meters in 4 minutes and 3.3 seconds, led by a Japanese 1-2 at the moment in this 10,000 meters race walk final. Sho Sakazaki from Tatsuko Nakayama. And that reflects the world rankings this year, the world lead times. Those two, 1 and 2 together. Ndigiti of Kenya has moved up as well there now. See the Ecuadorian Hurtado on the left of the picture. I mentioned he was disqualified in Bydgoszcz a couple of years ago, so a chance for him to complete the race here and to force his way into the reckoning. Could well be up there. Just like the women, many of these athletes were in Taishan when the race walking world was focused on the race walking team championships in China earlier this year.
And Tony, you were there at the event. We're back now. We'll come back to Tony's experience of that. Back to the men's discus qualifying Group B. Men's discus qualifying Group B. Tim Adder from Germany. Take to the circle. We're looking to get out towards the automatic qualifying mark of 60 meters. Not a bad effort by Adder. A little bit of frustration maybe showing through.
Results of the women's 10,000 meter race walk, a world lead mark, a world champion again for the second time in 2018. Elena Gonzalez of Mexico ahead of Miriam Beckmes and Glenda Mohan of Ecuador. Record marks, personal bests all the way through that field. Fuji of Japan in 4th, Katie Hayward of Australia 5th. National record for Orla O'Connor of Ireland down in 14th position.
Fantastic to see that. I'm really excited up here in the commentary box. Ireland are so proud of our race walkers, so well done, Orla O'Connor.
Just one athlete didn't finish, Lauren Harris of the United States. Still a big group. No one's made an early break, which you can see occur. So Sakazaki, Ndigiti, Mahmoud up there. You can see they are very, very keen to get the refreshments because, Derval, as you mentioned, you've had an opportunity to pop back out into the sunshine outside the stadium in the last few minutes, and it's pretty warm out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is searing heat down there today, and this stadium is built down into the ground, so it's a real heat trap for the athletes to compete in. Brayton Poole. He is a really interesting athlete, the South African. He is not a very tall athlete, and he's competing in an event that is predominantly full of extremely tall men, but he has won a global title. I believe he's the shortest athlete to have won a global title at the high jump. Incredible plyometric strength on takeoff. He'll be really exciting to watch through this men's high jump final.
Qualification summary after the women's triple jump. 13.68 for Necheba of Bulgaria led the way. National record mark for Lasmane of Latvia, 13.48. Automatic qualification down to Anate of Romania. The other qualifiers now make it through by virtue of being in the top 12. Adasco, Moore, Jossa, all the way down to Yilmaz, and 12.99 got the Turk through.
And just looking through now to see, do we have any red cards? We just have one from Sarosi, the Hungarian athlete. But outside of that, it looks to be quite clear so far in this men's race walk final. These athletes being very diligent on their technique. They're acutely aware that there are judges all around this course watching that technique and making sure that they are all on point with it. Just see the yellow paddle being shown, just wanting the athlete to be careful and just consider his technique, the Kenyan athlete, Nagiti.
There's the disqualification board over on the left-hand side, and so that is updated, and it's an opportunity for the walkers to see if they have been issued with a red card. See a yellow paddle warning there. The paddle, there are two different yellows. One will have an icon on it which will indicate it's a loss of contact, and one will have one with a distinct showing that it's saying they're at warning of a bent knee. 5 judges, remember, and a chief judge all the way around this circuit.
And we had started to chat a little bit about maybe going straight back to the men's high jump, and it's all happening down here. So this is a final, this men's high jump this morning. World title up for grabs. Vilches, we have the top 12 competitors from the qualifying groups. And there is a lot of talent in this high jump.
Well, leader in the high jump, Roberto Vilches of Mexico, 2:12 first time round. That's jump 2:26 this year.
Here we go then with Vilches, and a great clearance by the world leader in 2018.
Vilches is an extraordinary talent.
The bar at 2:12.
He looks on form today to try to claim this title.
17 laps to go in the race walk. And it's the Kenyan Indigiti who leads. Carl Swan of Australia is up there with him. Swan is the Australian youth champion from back in 2015, over 10 kilometres. He's coached by his father. Sorry, I should say he's coached by Brent Valance. The other Australian I was just going to mention in the field, Declan Tingay, is coached by his father, Stephen, and is the Adelaide junior champion and has been chasing the long-standing Australian junior record set by Dane Bird-Smith. Swan there, issued with a warning by one of those judges. Ortiz up there as well. Custer of France. The 2 Chinese walkers are in that front group as well. Still, these walkers adhering to the rules very closely. Only 3 red cards have been issued by the judges who watch on so carefully. Field just breaking a little bit now, and it's a little stretch from the Kenyan. And reaching out for the sponge in Digiti. It's got warmer for them. There's another judge there who would have just stepped in and indicated to the walker in question that they're being watched carefully. Kenyans weren't at the World Racewalking Team Championship, so I didn't get the chance to see Digiti in action. There's the list of red cards so far, 4 of them in total through this field of 34 walkers.
How was that experience at that World Racewalking
Really
Championship?
fascinating, actually, to see walks from, well, I say as short as 10 kilometres. This was, of course, on road, and right up to 50 kilometres, which was an extraordinary test of strength and endurance. And rarely have I been up close. Ooh, as a paddle is dropped there, so there was a warning paddle about to be issued to one of the walkers, but the judge dropped it, so she'll have to maybe wait for him to come round again. But 4,000 metres now, but it is remarkable to be up close and to just see what a test of human strength and character it is for them. It was pretty warm in Taisang back in May, and the race walking took place early in the morning generally, the longer races. Of course, you're looking at 50-kilometre race walks, you're talking in excess of 4 hours of competition. Saw the pit lane as well. My impressions of the pit lane very much were, though, that if you went into the pit lane, particularly in a 50-kilometre race, you had to spend, I think it was 5 minutes in there. So it's game over for you, really, if you go into the pit lane.
It really is a test of mental fortitude and resilience being a race walker. Oh, look, there you go.
Yep, and you see the paddle that was indicated there, and that was for loss of contact. A warning of loss of contact. You're in risk of incurring a red card. The 2 Chinese athletes are there together now, side by side, behind the leader from Kenya. And there is the scoreboard, the disqualification board, if you like, and that tells them by numbers, as there we are, loss of contact warning for Menjaveri. "14 laps to go" as the Kenyan leads them through. And Digiti is not among the leaders in the world's best marks this year. Let's go to the high jump final.
Javon Blake, the American high jumper, LSU collegiate athlete. Huge prospects here in this competition. Oh, nice. Just stays on. Seeing a little hand signal to the bar, maybe doing a bit of a deal with it. It's funny, the little conversations you have in your head as an athlete, start telling the bar to be nice to you, you'll be nice to it, that type of thing. Which makes not a whole heap of sense, but you do get quite superstitious at times as an athlete. You just see his LSU coach there in the background, who would have come off a good collegiate this season to be here competing.
Yeah, the college season, the end for track and field. They'll be warming up soon. They'll be not far away from the college football season. Incredible how these university campuses in the United States come to a stop for sport, as another red card goes up there on the board. And that one has been shown to athlete entrant number 228. And that is Menjivar. And in fact, we saw him warned earlier on. So a few more red cards appearing in this race than we saw in the women's, but still no one at the moment in any imminent danger of going into the pit lane. So the 2 Australians, one behind the other in that leading group. So it's Kenya from the 2 Chinese walkers. 2 Australians are up there as well. The Ecuadorian Hurtado, South American junior champion. An array of sunglasses, hats. Ndigiti has shunned either. So some 8 seconds separate the top 12. Kyle Swan just finds a little bit of room out on the outside on this home straight. Oh, and now as there, it looks like it's a 3rd red card. So we are going to see a pit lane for the first time this morning.
Okay.
That's Menjivar who's going to go in.
Big blow to his competition, ending up in that pit lane. Really would have wanted to avoid that sanction, but technique obviously got a little bit sloppy. Judges weren't happy. 3 red cards. You know, you have to say they know when they get red cards, so it shouldn't be a surprise to them when they're on 2. They need to be much more careful before the 3rd.
So the athlete from El Salvador is going to have to spend an enforced 1-minute time penalty in the pit lane, and that will knock him right back down, of course. Split times, the last 1,000 in 4 minutes 8 seconds, and that is the average. Ngiditi is taking them through in an average of 4:08.67 per 1,000 meters. And Menjivar, in fact, has actually been disqualified. So he's received 4. Our computer systems have now been updated. So Menjivar of El Salvador is out.
Okay.
4 reds.
Disappointing for the El Salvador.
Got himself back to the front. 2 Australians looking set to defend Tampere, national champion.
Still the Kenyan leads from the Australian. It's Ngiditi. Down that back straight. Leading from Tingay. Hurtado up in 3rd. These 3 now. Trying to move away from a group behind. Oh, Ngiditi, what's happened here? Oh, I think he's got a problem with his shoe. Oh, and he's had to break away, and now he's surrendered his advantage and dropped right back. And of course, now he's going to have to try and plough his way. But look at the pace he's going to get back into that group. Well, he's gone right back to the front again.
Let's look at it. Oh, look, we just see a little replay here. I think it was the heel of his shoe. You can see that the heel of his shoe had just gone right onto his foot, and of course that'd be very uncomfortable. You couldn't keep going like that. With 10 laps to go, there's no way. And he made the right decision, just stop for a second and then get back into it.
How much has he taken out of himself, though, to have to move to really to get himself back into that group? Interesting tactically whether that will turn out to be the right move, or whether he should have just got himself going again. Details of the disqualification. Menjivar, 4 red cards, he's out. A group of other athletes, 6 of them on 1 red card at the moment.
Lots of drama unfolding in this men's race walk. had a disqualification. There's lots of red cards.
Now it's the two Chinese, as we see the disqualified walker from El Salvador. 4 red cards for him, he's taken away. And Gaditi is now dropping off as the pace increases, and it's the two Chinese walkers. Wang Zhao. His fellow countryman Zhang Yao, the winner in Taishan. Up there amongst those front walkers. Ortiz is making a move. Hurtado is up there as well. Digiti is now struggling. The Australian Tingay is still up there, but Swan, you can see with 9 laps to go, is back among the chasers. And Gaditi, who had that unfortunate incident with his walking spikes, the heel, and then he showed a great fortitude to come back, but maybe that took too much out of him. Zhang Yao.
Yeah, the shoes that they wear are quite lightweight, race walking shoes. They put in quite a huge amount of mileage, all these athletes, and you can see how hard he's working to just get back into it, but that really does seem to have taken it out of him.
None of the front walkers have incurred a red card yet, and it's Hurtado of Ecuador who is the leader. First in the South American Junior 10K this year, Pan American Junior Champion 2017. Named 17th in Cali over 10,000 meters in 2015 at the Estadio Pascal Guerrero in Colombia. For Hurtado, this is a little bit about recovering from a disqualification in Bydgoszcz, but we talked earlier about how disqualification in race walking, the connotation of it is so different from so many other sports.
Absolutely. I was speaking to Rolf Muller, the chief judge here, and he was explaining to me that for a young athlete and for a senior athlete as well, getting disqualified in this event is you're mainly being penalized because you've tried too hard and your technique has broken down, whereas if you're disqualified, if you're getting a red card in a soccer match, for example, it's for a much different reason, and they're trying to really be innovative with this event, and part of that innovation is this pit stop area where athletes go into rather than automatically getting disqualified, because it's just the negative connotations. They want to get rid of that out of the event, and especially for young athletes. Within the race walking community, everybody understands getting disqualified can be part and parcel of it, but often outside of that community, people don't have the same understanding of it, and it's just another way that they are trying to, you know, advance this event and make it a bit more perhaps marketable and appealing for people, because it has such, you know, a cult following essentially for the people who do it. You know, they're very, very passionate about it. It's an incredibly tough event.
Should just point out the pace has really gone up now. Hurtado, the last 1,000 meters, 3:52.19, and the Chinese Zhang Yao and the Guatemalan Ortiz went through 3:51, and the winning time in Bydgoszcz a couple of years ago, Great Britain's Callum Wilkinson with a historic goal for that country, their first in race walking for 50 years on the global stage. 40 minutes 41 was his winning time. The average at the moment, 4:06.15 per 1,000 meters, so they're bang around that kind of 40-minute mark. World lead mark this year, Sho Sakazaki of Japan, but as you will have noticed, we haven't talked about him much because he's down in 11th position at the moment, some 37 seconds behind this leading group. Hurtado leads. Zhang Yao walked to victory in his home country in the World Race Walking Team Championships. He's second. And Jose Ortiz is third. Let's head across to the high jump. World Under-18 champion Brayton Poole.
Brayton Poole is a really special athlete. He's looking to add the World Under-20 title to his Under-18 crown. Oh, and he's over. What a plyometric athlete this is. If you ever want to show someone about spring and ability to use your power through the ground and get up, this is the guy for you. He is incredible to watch. Poole stands at 1.73 m, about 5'7", which is pretty much my height. And I can tell you, I have such respect for this guy.
Back in the race walk. It's a front three now, pulling away from the rest. A warning there for Zhang Yao. Just a warning though. Remember, the yellow card doesn't carry any penalty for you in a race. See a yellow paddle there issued for loss of contact. There are two types of yellow paddle. Loss of contact or a bent knee, that you're in danger of doing that, and it's just a warning from a judge to say you're close to being in breach of the rules. Hurtado puffs out the cheeks. And the front two now breaking away from Ortiz. The Guatemalan just outside the world top 10 this year at 8,000 meters. Struggling to keep pace now. David Hurtado, the 19-year-old. And with Zhang Yao, the World Race Walking Team Championships winner, over 10K on the road in Taisang. Walked a personal best that day to earn a big victory. The sponge drops down on the surface. And it's Ecuador from China in this race walking final. And we're moving into the final chapter of it. These men have had the warmer conditions, moving towards 11:30 local time. We're 3 hours ahead of GMT. Still, Hurtado and Yao, neither of them has incurred any red cards. But it's shaping up to be quite a battle, but a battle that is a head-to-head really now. As you can see, there's a big gap to Ortiz, and then the other Chinese athlete, and Declan Tingay of Australia. Tingay finished 14th in Taisang. They're back in 4th and 5th at the moment, some 15 seconds behind this front pair, but Hurtado cannot shake Zhang Yao. Over to the high jump final.
Vilches in the high jump final. Vilches has been unbeaten in 2018. Can he continue this unbeaten streak in Tampere in the men's final of the high jump? Oh, yes. It is looking very good for Vilches.
Now, news from the race walk is that Hurtado has received a red card, and that is for a loss of contact. And now Zhang, with 3 laps to go, has made his move on him. Just 1,200 metres left of this men's 10,000 metres race walk final, and is the world race walking team champion over 10K, making his move here to make it a double celebration. We've already seen a Mexican, Gonzalez, follow up victory in Taisang with victory in Tampere, and now Zhang Yao is looking to mount a charge away from Hurtado. Has he gone too early though?
This is a decisive move by Zhang. Looks comfortable, slight look around.
3:57 for the last 1,000, as you can see there, and it was 0.23 of a second advantage by Hurtado, but that has changed, of course, now, because it is actually the Chinese athlete Zhang Yao who is the leader. And when they come down this home straight, they know that they will have just 2 laps to go. The world lead mark this year, 40 minutes, 17.82 seconds. 4th place Tingay, some 18 seconds back. And can Hurtado close on Zhang Yao, or is the Chinese athlete away? With 800 meters to go. It's going to be around that 40-minute mark, you suspect. Championship record is 39 minutes 27. And that was set on a day of records in Eugene 4 years ago. And what a comeback this is here. Hurtado has forced his way back into the reckoning. We thought Zhang Yao had made what looked like a potentially decisive break, and Hurtado's come back.
Hurtado is not ready to give this up easily. Found a reserve to fight off the effort of Zhang, and Zhang trying to go again. It's just a battle of wills out there between these two athletes. Who has more left in reserve in this latter stage of the race?
Let's just remember as well, one of the rules in race walking is that the chief judge, Rolf Muller, has the power to disqualify an athlete outright for a breach of the rules. And there's a yellow paddle there for the Chinese athlete Zhang Yao. They come up to the bell, and in the last 100 meters in a track race, there can be an outright disqualification regardless of how many cards you might already have. And Zhang Yao's made a move on the bell. He's trying to break Hurtado again. And Yao moves away. Can Hurtado respond? He has done so once. Yao ignoring the fact perhaps in some ways that he got the yellow paddle. He didn't let that put him off at all. He's made a break, and Hurtado now has got to try and challenge him.
Hurtado doesn't look like he can respond to Yang's break. He's just clearing that distance, going slightly further, but Hurtado now is coming back slightly. Can he catch Zhang at this stage?
There'll be 3 judges on the home straight to watch very, very carefully, because Hurtado is just trying to nudge back here. Hurtado chasing Zhang Yao to a really close finish to this men's 10,000 meters race walk final here in Tampere. Zhang Yao, he's already won a world event this year in Taisang, and now he's closing in on a world under 20 title. He comes into the home straight. Hurtado has not got enough to give, you wouldn't have thought, unless he can find something. The judges are watching carefully. Zhang Yao, the winner in Taisang, in a world best mark at the time for him, in the personal best. Hurtado's making a late charge. Hurtado to the line. Well, that's incredible. There's a photo finish on the line almost, but Zhang Yao, I think, has just about got it. Hurtado came from nowhere with a burst of speed. which may require some investigation. Possibly the judges will have watched that very, very carefully and will report back to the chief judge. It's Ortiz of Guatemala who got the bronze, but Zhang Yao, well, he was celebrating his victory. His arms were in the air as he went across the line. And then Hurtado came with a massive burst, which appeared to be in vain. But we will just wait to get confirmation. There comes Nagiti.
Nagiti, all sorts of problems during that, an issue with his shoe, and just looked to be hurting at various points in that, but finishing it out strong. Good to see that from the young Kenyan athlete.
Well, we don't have a confirmed result yet. No doubt that will be because of the style of the finish. It was effectively a photo finish between them, but did Hurtado lose contact? Did he bend the knee with the final dramatic acceleration, which happened in literally the last 20 meters?
What a burst of speed from Hurtado to finish out that last, honestly, the last probably 15 meters. I mean, probably quicker than we've seen some 400 meters out here. Incredible at the end of that. But, you know, the judges will have a close look at that. But what an exciting finish for us.
Well, the Chinese flags are out. We are still waiting, I must tell you, for confirmation of the result, because it did go down to the line. But as we pointed out, was Hurtado able to maintain contact at all times? The burst was such. Ortiz guaranteed third. Declan Tingay finished fourth for Australia. And of course, you can't discount the possibility that Hurtado could be disqualified, because in the last 100 meters, you can be outright disqualified. And that is something that Rolf Muller will look at, the chief judge. We are still waiting for the result of this 10,000 meters. Let's watch the latter stages. It ebbed and flowed. Yao has been credited with victory. Yao has got it. Watch the end here. Yao making his way towards the line. He, at this point, sees glory. Hurtado comes storming along, but Zhang Yao got there, and Hurtado is given second. They've been given the same time after 10,000 meters.
Can you believe the drama of that? 10,000 meters, and they still cannot be separated on times.
40:32:06. Hurtado given second, and Ortiz got third. But Zhang Yao, well, he can celebrate. He is a double world champion in 2018, in a personal best mark as well. But I don't think he will have quite realised how close it was.
I was just about to say, Zhang Yao, I don't believe the young man has any idea that that went to a photo finish. I wonder, has any of his races in the past ever gone to a photo finish? 10,000 meters of race walk, only to be split by thousandths of a second on the line. What an incredible finish of the men's race walk.
Astonishing. After 10,000 meters, well, after 9,999, we thought we had a clear winner.
Oh my God, the drama of it. Look, David Hurtado, who made it exciting for us in that final 100 meters. He seems very confident with his position. Doesn't think the judges have anything to be looking at. Maybe he knows a bit better than us. But what an exciting race.
Here it is again. Look at this. It's an unbelievable finish. Hurtado found a burst out of somewhere and managed, as far as we're aware at the moment, not.
You could not write this. Such is the excitement and drama on the track here today.
So the result which we have at the moment is that Zhang Yao has won it in the same time as David Hurtado, but has been given the victory. Jose Ortiz of Guatemala third. And we go to the discus.
Back to the men's qualification in the discus. Wang from China just goes through his rotations, and he's over the automatic qualifying.